Welcome to EntrepreNourish, the podcast that's hard to say but easy on the ears. I'm Felicite Moorman, and I am here with my longtime co-collaborator and creative partner in crime, Jasper Lloyd.
What's up, everybody?
We're so happy you're joining us. EntrepreNourish is a podcast to nourish the entrepreneurial soul. Don't try saying that 3 times fast. It's a total fail.
Entrepreneurial.
You took the bait. So simple. Very straightforward. Questions answered, best and worst stories, maybe some most embarrassing moments, but mostly here to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. Lifelong entrepreneur. I've only done anything else a couple of times and it did not go well. So don't ever hire me. Literally, no matter what. Worst employee ever. We'll save those stories for later. Jasper, little background.
So we've been working together for 7 years
Happy
now.
anniversary, literally. Comme ça?
Literally, right today.
Yep.
7 years today. So I went to school for marketing, but my passion was in creative and design. So I came in for a social media marketing position with Felicite, and we've been working together ever since, doing design work and collaborating on graphics.
We're
and
now
pretty things.
We're psychically connected now.
Yes.
Like there's
Yeah.
The other day, I had an idea and I didn't deliver it to Jasper. I was just noodling on it. And Jasper walked in through a presentation on the projector and it was my idea. So he's now not just psychically connected, but also predicting my future asks.
I feel like us being so connected is made it easier for me to eliminate the stresses of what's to come. Because I already know what's coming. So
yeah, you're definitely.
So I already I have it prepared.
Zero stress in my book. What a gift. Listen, if you can get a coworker who's zero stress every time, just phenomenal.
It's a great feeling.
It is. All right, so I retired.
What?
I didn't. I didn't retire and I won't. So I am not really retiring. We've started a new project together. I was kidding. It was a joke.
I thought I was on my own on this one for a second.
No. Sorry, not going anywhere. So similar to this podcast, where we are enabling entrepreneurs, hopefully to live a better entrepreneurial life, we are creating a super app together. The super app is BOSS.Tech, and we won't talk a lot about BOSS.Tech here unless it's hyper relevant and we can really save you time, money, or help you grow. So BOSS.Tech stands BOSS, B-O-S-S, another alliteration and acronyms.
Right.
I'm a junkie.
You love your acronyms.
I'm a junkie. It's your business operations super app solution. Our intention is to create the first business super app in the world, literally to deliver everything you need to run your business from the palm of your hand. So this means accounting, marketing, both reconciliation and invoice and payments, communications across multiple platforms,
scheduling, booking, calendars.
What else?
Business cards, networking.
Ooh, digital business card. I love this one. This is something for everyone, whether you're doing a side hustle or this is your sole focus. That's a good one.
Message center.
Yeah.
The list goes on and on.
Yeah. And we're focused for that endeavor on 3 things. So this is time management, money management, and growth. And these are the top 3 things that entrepreneurs struggle with. So when we share a story or have some fun with you, our goal is to enable you, whether you're using BOSS.Tech or not, to deliver better in those 3 categories. So time, money, growth. I think that honestly covers almost everything we do as entrepreneurs.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
And hopefully have some fun.
Lots of fun.
Speaking of fun, do you want to answer some questions?
Yes, let's answer some questions.
Okay, so we put questions into a jar. Oh, sorry for the noise. Do you want to go first or do you want me to?
I'll go first.
Okay. Wait, you're asking me first?
Yeah, I'll ask you
Okay,
first.
I'm ready. I've answered questions a lot, so.
You can kick us off here. All right. What big and small habits do you stick by religiously to make it through your 12 to 16-hour days, day after day?
Whew. Oh, okay. Religiously might be a stretch because
Oh yeah,
it's
did you want to look at this?
it's entrepreneur life.
Okay.
So maybe first habit, first goal is flexibility. Remain flexible, reduce your expectations of consistency a little bit, and then these are really for everybody. This isn't just entrepreneurs. You're going to love this. There's an acronym for this, and it's not the best acronym I've ever used, so judge. It's okay. I don't mind. But it's please. Please take care of yourself. As an entrepreneur, if you want to go 12 or 16 hours a day, and not everybody has to. I think my kids miss that messaging. It doesn't have to be 12 or 16 hours a day to be a good entrepreneur. And there are entrepreneurs out there who say you can do it in 4 hours a week. I don't know any entrepreneur who can deliver in 4 hours a week or 4 days a week.
Right.
That's not my style. So let's go back to the acronym, please. P&L for physical. I don't know that I shared this with you, but I think I did. I neglected my health for the last 5 years of the last startup. And that caused some challenges that I didn't expect physically, and certainly could have been much worse than they were. So I'm thrilled to say I'm healthy, but I'm also now focused on my health. So take care of your big physical things. Don't skip your annual doctor's appointments.
Right.
Women, do the things you know you need to do for yourself. That's a whole additional list to men. So do those things. They're really important. So physical. And then here's hard habits of mine. Eat. I eat at 11 every day. When I don't eat, I get hangry. Highly recommend against skipping meals, unless you're fasting, but do it intermittently with a doctor or a trainer or both. So I eat.
Yes.
I don't skip meals.
We don't let her skip meals either.
No. So that's your E. So PLE. A, altering substances. Manage them carefully. I think a lot of entrepreneurs take the edge off at the end of the day in various ways. Just be careful and be cognizant and recognize if you start experiencing any challenges with them, but stay cognizant. S, sleep.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, I don't get enough
is a big
sleep,
one.
but I definitely give myself a little grace when I know I haven't slept enough. And I'm not saying, get your 7 or 8 hours religiously, but be aware of your sleep patterns. And that might be the most important one. And then exercise. I started exercising this last year. And there have been times in my life when I've been really good at exercise, but scaling a startup is hard. Startup life is hard. And it was an easy thing to drop, but now I'm committed to it. And here's a I don't know, maybe a startup hack. I scheduled my exercise for my daily slump. So at 3 o'clock, I start thinking maybe I could take a nap.
Right.
Instead, I go to the gym.
And that's a great idea too, because I usually exercise in the morning, and by 3 o'clock, I'm like already slumping, but just powering it through, crack another energy drink, and on the way we go.
Altering substances. No, that's real.
Right.
I can't do energy drinks because anybody who knows me knows that's recipe for disaster.
That's a lot of Felicity.
We're gonna not do that. So yeah, that's those are my really big habits for keeping those long days. I think also, and I thought about this a little bit recently, I think I'm also gifted with naturally high energy levels. I don't hear that from everyone, but I'm certainly energized by the work I do, and I think that makes a difference. And my team.
Right.
Yep. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, so I don't know if I have any religiously, have any habits that I stick to religiously, but I would just like to add on top of the flexibility portion of it was that I like to surround myself with a good environment. So if I have like music that I like that's playing in the background, if I'm surrounded by a clean room, anybody that knows me knows that I have a a lot of collectibles around me, and that's where I feel the happiest, especially when you're working from home too. So you just have to have like a really good environment that you're working from.
Agreed. I haven't mastered that one yet.
Yeah. You're all over the place.
I'm all over the place. And I just
You're
have
running
stacks
everywhere.
of things everywhere. I'm like, oh yeah, this definitely needs my attention. 4 days later, it's under a pile this big.
Right. Yeah. The rest of my house could look like a mess, and I just keep my one room clean.
Go to your space. Go to your space.
It's my
Go
safe
to your
space.
crate. Safe space.
Yes.
Even better. All right. Are you
Yeah.
ready?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm ready.
Let's do another. I'm digging to the bottom.
What's it gonna be?
I don't know. Oh, this is one of my favorites. What's the most important lesson you've learned over your career? So, big question.
All right. Yeah. So the most important lesson that I've learned over my career is that every interaction is very important. You never know who you're going to meet, and you don't know what their life is about. You don't know what they're working in. So it's always just good to create a good contact with just about anybody that you come into contact with.
Yeah, this lends to my don't be an a-hole.
Right? Yeah.
Put your good
course.
person on every time you go out, even if you're not feeling it.
Right?
Yeah.
Even if it's like someone that cut you off, like you don't know who that person is. You don't know if they had a bad day that day or if they're on the way somewhere for an emergency. Like
Yeah. I think we both practice giving even strangers, or maybe especially strangers, a lot of grace.
Mm-hmm.
Like just recognizing we just don't know what we don't know.
Right.
I think
Right.
it's probably one of the reasons we get along.
Yeah.
Like
and
it.
I feel like that's like something that I haven't like learned recently, but it's something that I'm practicing a lot more than when I was younger. I would just blow up at everybody that
Yeah, I've had a temper.
Right.
I think also COVID really shifted my perspective from
Oh, definitely.
more constantly on me to a greater community
Right.
and individuals as parts of that community. That
Right.
we're not alone, and yet a lot of us are lonely.
Yeah.
All right, my biggest career lesson, and I wish I could pinpoint when this really struck me. I think I was working with a woman who was a serious worrier, and you have a choice. You are either going to be a worrier or a warrior,
Mm-hmm.
and worry isn't work.
I like that one.
Worry doesn't do anything to move you forward and out of the worry. So to sit for several hours and just be concerned about your circumstances, and I'm not saying that there aren't circumstances that are concerning, and I think in startup life, there's a lot more opportunity to worry than when you have a boss who's in charge of everything. When you're in charge, that hits differently. It's not just my family and my job, it's 100 people.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of opportunity to worry. And you're going to love this. Worry isn't work, a little bit of alliteration, but also action alleviates anxiety. So as you
Right.
begin to worry and as you begin to feel anxious, pinpoint everything, brain dump everything that has you worried.
Mm-hmm.
And then take action on the number one biggest thing that can move you out of this moment and this space. And that doesn't mean that you're going to go work for an hour and suddenly things will be better. But when you take action on that number one thing that's causing you pain, that's causing you concern, I feel like the small accomplishments stack quickly.
Right.
But worry doesn't stack anything except more worry.
Right. We had this situation just yesterday when we were trying to, come up with a strategy for community-led growth.
Yeah.
And we didn't really, I personally didn't really know where to start. So what I did was I brain dumped everything into a PowerPoint and we moved some things around and you put your brain dump into visual things so you can kind of see what everything looks like, and then you present it to your peers and see what they think, and then they help you fit the pieces together
And refine.
Yep, and refine. And then it's just so less stressful doing that than having to come up with something all on your own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think solo entrepreneurs, individuals who are running their own business, their side hustle, especially if they are not working a job plus doing a side hustle, I think that there's a lot of anxiety available there because of the lack of teamwork. Whenever I'm stressing something, especially creative, but not even just creative, strategy, execution, I'm super fortunate to have you and a phenomenal team to go and have conversations with so that I can not just brain dump, but then refine, like you said.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's priceless.
Yeah. It's a good resource.
Yeah.
It's a good resource.
In 7 years,
Yeah.
like it just rolls. So
it does. It does.
Few and far between are the worries that don't enable action or allow for action.
Right.
Health concerns. That's why we do physical first.
Right.
Please. PL.
Need
physical.
to get back into yoga. Our morning yoga sessions.
Listen, I tell you, that's my problem is that morning is my best work time.
Right.
And so I can't, I have to choose.
I think that was one of the questions in here too was, when do you work? Like, what's the best day or the best time of the day for you to work? So I'm not going to pull it out of the thing because I already know that it's in there.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and elaborate more on your morning work time.
All right, you go first.
I don't think I have one because there's some days where I don't really want to work in the morning. I'd rather just be like cleaning or taking care of the dogs or
getting things together.
Getting things together and getting things done. And then I'll work at night.
Yep.
Or then there's times where I like split it up, like I'll work this chunk of the day, then this chunk of the day, and then it really depends on when I'm feeling inspired, because if I'm not inspired to do it, then I'm like super slow. I'm like lethargic. I'm falling
creative
asleep.
Work.
Yeah,
that's
so I think
creative
that's
work.
what it is. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm big on Eat the Frog.
Right.
And so for those of you who aren't aware, Eat the Frog is it's Mark Twain. And he said, if your job is to eat a frog, best to get that done first thing in the morning. And
right.
He didn't mean eat a literal frog, but
But we were going to.
More to come. Teaser.
It's a little teaser.
Right? But I think that big task, and just briefly, it's important to know your big task. Worry is a great way to know what your big task is. Is your big concern, the thing keeping you up, is it time management? Is it money management? Or is it growth? You need to optimize your time, you need to optimize your money, or you need to manage or expand growth. So it's really important to understand which category your biggest worry fits into. And who knows, it may be something different, so drop in the comments if it is. I'd love to hear your pain so that maybe we can help.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're not in a lot of pain, but we're here for you. So understanding what your frog is, what's your biggest worry, your biggest concern, that's where you want to take action. And so eating the frog can be anything on any given day. And as a CEO, it varies every day. Like some days it's pay these bills right now. Some days it's expand your business as fast as you can. And some days it's manage expansion of your business. So depending on what it is, I typically know, and if you have trouble sleeping as an entrepreneur, definitely do that brain dump at night. There is a cognitive capability enabled by handwriting. And I know you don't have to read it. That's not the point. Handwriting, pen to paper, everything in your head, because your brain manages that information differently than typing or anything else that you do. So get it all out. You'll sleep better. I promise. Get it all out on paper, pen to paper. Again, you don't have to read it, but you'll be able to discern what your biggest worry is on that list relatively rapidly. And you may have 3 or 4 big worries, but you'll know which one is going to move you forward fastest. And in that moment, you'll know what you need to do the next morning. And if it's a big task, break it down, but eat the frog. Get the worst thing you have to do, the hardest thing, the thing you're willing to procrastinate on, done first.
Yeah. And when I actually practice that method of writing things down before you go to bed, like when you wake up the next day, you are excited to get something done.
You know what to do.
And usually that's the day that I skip the gym because I'm like, okay, I'm up, like dogs are out, like,
Yep.
okay, get right to work. And then you're like deep diving the entire day.
I skipped the gym until 3, so I hear you.
Right.
All right, where are we?
Okay.
Are you drawing?
Did I draw the last one or did you draw the last one? Well, actually I didn't draw
Oh, you
one.
didn't draw. You're just you're just
went for it.
ripping.
Yeah.
All right, good. Okay, I'm drawing then. That's nice. I like that. Okay. Oh,
Is it the
it
question?
is the question.
See?
No, we have like 17
What time of the
questions
day?
in here.
I knew it.
That he's even psychically connected to the jar.
I told you.
Okay, well, hold on. I'm going. That was fun.
That was a good one.
All right. Okay, I'm going to ask you. So, one thing in your area of expertise that almost no one agrees with you about. I got lots in this one. I'm not a contrarian by nature, by the way.
Okay.
Like, I'm easily told what to do. I don't mind someone with more experience telling me a way to do things. Like, I'm always willing to try it.
Right.
But I still have a few of these.
Right. Well, so I think with startup life, you can't really measure how things are going to go. Like there's the whole quote that's like measure twice, cut once.
Yep.
And in startup life, you really can't do that because we just don't know how things are going to go, especially in an industry that's so brand new.
Yeah.
We're the first ones that are going to be in this space, so we definitely need to, get out there, experiment, get feedback, comb for data, and really like understand the industry. And I think most entrepreneurs that are out there are just wanting to push their vision without actually collecting that data and figuring out what is needed and what problem needs to be solved because they just want their vision to be out there.
Inward focus instead of outward focus.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I totally agree. So that also brings me to mine, which I think a lot of entrepreneurs feel that if they can't get funding, so this usually means venture capital. It often starts with friends and family and angels, but then that would lead to venture capital. I think that it's overrated to seek funding. And that doesn't mean every company can grow without funding. But I think that there's a lot of opportunity for creativity outside of the venture world, and that includes angel investors. Certainly, I have raised venture capital, but I've also bootstrapped. And bootstrapping is simply growing your company on your own dollars. So here's one of those moments where I say, don't quit your day job. Like if you can pay for your food and shelter and your family with the money that you earn at your job and start your side hustle,
right,
and start it growing, absolutely the way to go. You know, you quit your day job and suddenly the pressure is on you to feed yourself and your family, shelter, et cetera, unless you're living in a basement of a parent's house, which is great. Also highly recommend. I mean, that might be age dependent. I think at a certain point we age out of that from a capacity,
right,
kid capacity. But I think venture capital funding is, I don't want to say a last resort either, because when it's right, it's right. But I think bootstrapping is the way to go for almost all entrepreneurs. And I don't think entrepreneurs like to hear it, but I think when they get too focused on outside venture funding, they can lose sight of their own business.
Right.
And they can lose sight of strategic partnerships that can make their business successful without diluting their equity in their company.
Right.
And there are very, very, very few companies that are actually fundable, far less today than there were 2 years ago. So I hate to see entrepreneurs discouraged because they can't raise funding, but they're so focused on funding, they aren't looking at creative ways to get money otherwise.
right.
Do you think it's okay if I share an example?
Go ahead.
Okay. So last startup, we we didn't have outside funding. So we would do the equivalent of consulting in hard tech. Hard tech is hardware. Sometimes also referred to, for instance, the Internet of Things, anything where you're creating something physical that requires manufacturing. And it's very, very challenging. I am not doing hardware now for a reason. And it was my competitive advantage. So to walk away from a competitive advantage is something I don't generally recommend, but it was worthwhile in this case. We were consulting, and earning income as consultants that funded the work that we were delivering in our business. So that is one way to bootstrap. Take your expertise, create opportunities with strategic partners and clients to deliver your expertise for a fee that funds your projects and your expansion. But more importantly, that partner had a major project that they asked us to deliver that was far beyond the scale of 2 people consulting or 4 people consulting or even 8 people consulting for them. They basically needed an outside team to create an entire platform. So we created licensing agreements, engineering agreements, consulting agreements, a mess of agreements. This is, by the way, when you should be working with a lawyer consistently on a, if not pro bono basis, a discounted fee basis, with the expectation that when you get this opportunity and legal fees will be paid from those dollars that you'll get, they will be paid in full. Not for back things. There are a lot of lawyers out there who are willing to work with you. They're usually at larger firms that have entrepreneurship established inside, but they're willing to work with you so that when these opportunities arrive where legal fees are expected, they'll be included, so they get paid. Mm-hmm. We don't want to not pay our lawyers. Our lawyers can be our best friends. I used to be a lawyer. I mean, I guess technically I still am, but I don't practice and haven't for a while. So that said, those strategic partnerships, those long-term consultancies that turn into much bigger projects, really enabled us to launch our company, our last company that sold. And to your point, I think that in those moments where you're never an a-hole, you're always looking for that opportunity to serve. And you may not get everything you deserve in that moment. You know, sometimes you're going to give without getting reciprocity, but I think it's really valuable.
Yes, every interaction is important.
It is. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. And some of the people who came to me at our last company, I hadn't talked to in 5 and 7 years prior.
Right.
But they remember the way you make them feel.
Right.
Even if you don't get to conclude a project or create a project together, they'll seek you out as the expert when you give good advice.
Right, exactly.
The other thing that you said was outward versus inward, like looking inward at your own expectations for your product versus looking outward at your client's expectations for your product. So another thing that creating a consultancy or delivering expertise or creating a product with a partner, a strategic partner, so often another company, is that you have an immediate feedback loop. So you have someone immediately telling you what they need and probably paying you to create it, but you know the demand is there when that happens. Mm-hmm. We're putting a super app out into the marketplace based on the feedback, not just of lifelong entrepreneurs like myself and Ryan, but of our entire network of entrepreneurs. We didn't say, hey, we've never been in business, but we're going to create this super app for business people. We are drinking our own champagne. Sometimes they say eating your own dog food.
No, we don't like that one.
We don't like that one. We drink our own champagne. And so the feedback loop we got from our strategic partners at our last company really set us up for long-term success and acquisition. Right. So I don't think there is a lot more important than what you said about that outward focus. Instead of focusing on what you want to do and deliver, focus on what you're being demanded to do and deliver.
Right.
And it requires a lot of research and interaction.
Right. And we got that feedback loop not just from our strategic partners, but also from the employees that we've had working there. Like, Ryan, how many tools did we use at our last company? Over 200 different tools.
That makes me lit. I'm like, 'cause that's how much was I paying for?
Right? Like, and some of the subscriptions, it was like the subscriptions that we forget about today, like the Netflixes and all those other streaming services. It was kind of the same thing when it came to business subscriptions and business tools. And the idea that we've come up with was to just stick all those into a super app.
Yeah.
And the ones that, are the most used or the ones that are the most important, and really being able to manage our time more, our money, and our growth, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, no, here, I have worse news than what you just delivered.
Uh-oh.
I know.
You have more subscriptions that you
Bad
forgot
news
about.
bear. No, it's so the average size businesses actually use about 100 platforms. So think about your accounting platforms, your tax platforms, your reconciliation platforms, that's just money. Then think about your social platforms and your scheduling for social, your calendars, your emails. I don't know how many emails you have now.
Oh, I have a lot.
I think I'm up to 8 or 9. But so say it's 100, be conservative and say your average business is utilizing 100 platforms to run their business. 30% of those on average are superfluous. So they are duplicating something you already have, or they're paid for and not utilized.
Right.
So that can be a lot of money. So when we talk about time management, not going back and forth between all of those apps. When we talk about money management, optimizing your subscriptions so that you're not paying for things you're not using. And growth management, not losing opportunities to grow because you don't have all of your information in one place and it's siloed. And you may get a request for assistance here, but you're not seeing that they're overdue 90 days on a payment here.
Right.
Those disconnects are... The estimated cost of those disconnects is something like $450 billion a year globally.
That's insane.
It's country's GDP.
That's a lot.
I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And that's an expectation of losing 20% of revenue in businesses because of the siloed data. Let's fix it.
We'll fix it. Fix it.
Thank you for joining us for EntrepreNourish. We hope we gave you something to nourish your entrepreneurial soul. And Jasper?
Make sure you guys stay tuned for the next episode. Peace.